Hello, it is Friday, February 3rd, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Friday puzzle today, so our first themeless of the week, our first of two. A themeless puzzle, possibly a punny puzzle. Often the Friday puzzles are full of wordplay and things like that, but we'll just have to see. This themeless edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Joseph Schwalbach, Joe Percy, Jake Rotkin, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Showmaster. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support in sustaining this channel and this series. I do very much appreciate that. So thank you to the five of them. And if you'd like to become a benefactor yourself, you can do that by going to patreon.com/dailysolve or following a link in the description field underneath the video, of course. And at that very same link, and for that, you will get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug. Can't forget that. And by following that same link in the description field, you can become a patron of the campaign at any level you choose. And for that, you will gain all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. So still need to do this week's mini puzzle speed solve compilation. And also I did solve yet another acrostic puzzle. So that will go up soon. I'll space those out a bit so they're not it's not all acrostic all the time, but that'll go up soon. And thank you to everybody who is a patron of any level, for any amount at any time. I very much appreciate it. So thank you for that. Do also subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so on YouTube, and consider telling a friend about it. You can also join the Daily Solve Discord chat server, and then tell those people, because they will become your friends as well. All right, let's get on to today's puzzle. This is a Friday themeless crossword constructed by Barbara Lynn, who's constructed, I think, around 10 crosswords, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving, shall we? Finishing line cry, question mark, finishing line cry. What about that would be suited to a pun or a bit of wordplay as indicated by the question mark? I'm not sure. Guinness with an Oscar. Alec Guinness, that's pretty straightforward. Hoffman, who wrote Revolution for the Hell of It. I actually don't know that one, but that sounds like it would be by Abby Hoffman, who wrote Steal This Book, for instance. Island rings could be leis, so the floral garlands associated with Hawaii. National dogs of Norway. I don't know that. Flowering plants such as Old Man's Beard. I'll probably recognize the name, but I don't know it by this nickname. Result of a normal distribution would be a bell curve. So the normal distribution of, various kinds of data often ends up forming a bell curve pattern. Or I guess the normal distribution, implies that intrinsically. Long ones can be measured in centuries. Long, not sure. And families and waves might have them. Not sure about that either. Probably ends with an S. Some bonds for short. Could be munis, municipal bonds maybe. Financial instruments in this case. Could be. Where's the beef? Inquirer. I wonder if this is referring to... So there was an old TV advert that had where's the beef as a sort of catchphrase. I wonder if it's referring to that person or if it means in a more general sense. I'm not sure. Good in Guadalajara could be bueno. Could be buena as well, I suppose, actually. Begins to believe. Oh, I bet it ends in two with that O. Begins to believe it. Comes... warms to? No, that's not... It's not really begins to believe. That's begins to like, I suppose. Begins to believe. Something onto? Something S onto? Nurses. Greasy spoons. Greasy spoons is probably diners. Greasy spoon restaurant is, sort of often a late night diner, for instance. College figures. Deans. So on a university campus, a dean is sort of, official. or member of, particular member of faculty. Where's the Beef Inquirer? Yeah, I'm just not sure what that is. Broke up a band, say. And the National Dogs of Norway. This one I don't know if I'm going to recognize or not. I mean, I guess I don't know if I'm going to recognize this flowering plant either, but I suspect it's more likely. Okay, fingers crossed. Wish something, maybe? Tongue-in-cheek, wry. You could make a wry comment, a tongue-in-cheek comment. Sort of sly comment. Recruit. Something higher, a new hire? Right, so my first thought was recruit as a verb, but this is in fact recruit as a noun. I shouldn't say in fact, we're not certain yet, but I think it's recruit as a noun, as in someone who has recently been hired, a new hire. Some striped strips. Not sure what that's getting at. Quick notes quickly. Quick notes quickly. IDs, as in you note something, you identify it. I don't think that's right. Yeah, not sure. Things a misophobe is afraid of. I'm not sure. This is a tough crossword for me so far. Tiny messenger RNA, maybe? Ink spots for short. Ink spots for short. Tats? Tattoos? I guess you could sort of, in a punny way, describe a tattoo as an ink spot, maybe? Not completely certain that's right. Award quartet. Oh, an EGOT, the, what is it? Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony collection of major entertainment industry awards. Mind compound in the Avatar universe. I have actually never seen Avatar. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Oops, not sure about that one. Driver's license designation. Driver's license designation. Feels so this should be very obvious, and yet I'm not sure. Mind's one's own business. Butts out, maybe? Butt out, you might tell somebody. Mind your own business. Why don't I know what this is? Driver's license designation. Sorry, it's probably screamingly obvious to many of you. I apologize if you're yelling at me through the screen. Families and waves might have them. There are probably quite a few things in here that I should be getting, but I don't seem to be. Flowering plant. Oh, such as old man's beard. So it's not specifically that plant. It's a category, I suppose. Quack, grass, and others. Probably ends in an S. Does that help with this? Not really. Okay, what have we not seen yet? Participates in a bee, maybe a quilting bee. Show up and quilt, create a quilt. Language that's mutually intelligible, Hindi, Urdu, I would think. Thigh muscle, informal, your quads, quadriceps, right? Opposite of sans or sans, depending on sort of how much you're anglicizing it. So that means without in French, and avec is with in French. So sans without, avec with. Like Comic Sans, the font, so named because it, this sans suffix because it has no serifs. It is without them. Secretary, e.g. Secretary, e.g. A desk, a secretary desk is a kind of writing desk. There we go. Long ones can be measured in centuries. Big something? Well, wish me luck, right. Why didn't I immediately think that? Fingers crossed, wish me luck. I don't know why that didn't... I saw the wish part because we already had some of that fill. That was odd. Anyway, what might families and waves have? Sheets, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. And I'm not sure about this either. outbuilding that's sometimes converted into a dwelling. This area is a bit worrisome because I seem to be out of ideas just throughout. Outbuilding that's sometimes converted into a dwelling. A yurt? Families and waves might have them. This doesn't really seem very good. Also, a yurt sort of, I thought, is already a dwelling. So I don't think that's the answer. Okay, let's just keep going. Hopefully Quackgrass and others is filled in a useful way that helps this. Driver's license designation. What is that? Mind compound. What is this thing? Have we looked at all I wonder if we've looked at all the downs up here. Some striped strips. No, we haven't. Extra play opportunities in brief. Overtimes. There we go. That's something. Finishing line cry. Beginning to happen. It's beginning to happen. It's tickets. Is short. Owes? Is short money? Owes money? That's probably the answer. Some striped strips. What on earth is that? Lead into some unsolicited advice. It could be something like, if you ask me. It's obviously not that because that doesn't fit. This is interesting. These two W's very close to one another. Striking. Could mean striking as in industrial action, or striking as in physically hitting something, or I guess it could mean striking as in sort of interest. That's a striking, I don't know, comment you made. It's noteworthy. That fits. Striking, noteworthy. Does that work with this? Finishing line cry. Oh, bingo! Why is that finishing line? Oh, because you draw 5, right. In bingo, you have to create a line of 5, or power of many, I guess. Usually, maybe it's more than that, I don't know. But in any case, right, I see. You draw a line to finish, and then you've achieved a bingo. Okay, so if it's beginning to happen, it's afoot. The game is afoot. The game is beginning to happen. Would have been a less interesting thing for Sherlock Holmes to say. Some striped strips are bacon. There we go. There we go. Streaky bacon, as it's called here in the UK. This sort of, that style of, striped strips of bacon. Tickets. Not sure what's going on with that one. Ends a vacation. Goes home. There we go. So what was this again? Tickets. There's something wrong here that looks so odd. Oh, cites. If an officer tickets someone for speeding, right, they cite that person for it. Okay. If I were you, lead into unsolicited advice. If I were you, there we go. Capacious is roomy, as in a home. Didn't look at that clue, I don't think. Quick notes quickly could be IMs, a note to somebody else, an instant message. Things a misophone is afraid of. What is this? Germs, maybe. Okay. I guess that's more sort of formal, correct language than germaphobe, presumably. Lump is a glob or something? Ending with electro. Electrolyte or bite? Could be electrolyte, and this could be glob then. Wow, ooh, okay, I guess it is glob. I think of a lump as being firmer than a glob, personally, but I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be so. Begins to believe, buys into, I see. That to me looks more like believes rather than begins to believe. Buys into. I guess I sort of see what it means in that the moment at which you buy into something is, I guess you could sort of consider that a specific point in time, and that is the point in time at which you begin to believe it. But it feels to me as it can be in practice, it's used in a continuous way as well. I buy into that. No, maybe you wouldn't say that. Maybe you'd say I buy that. Maybe the into is what makes it a specific point in time. at which point you have begun to believe it. That's plausible. I've just bought into that idea. Where's the beef inquirer? Oh, meat something? Meat buyer? Oh, is it just a general? Right, okay. It's just a general concept of someone buying meat asking where the beef is. IBM component, international business machines. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Because IBM stands for International Business Machines, and so it must be the I that is the component here for international. Oh, meat lover, maybe. Okay, fair enough. It's still the generic concept. Okay, nurses, sips on or sips at a drink. Broke up a band, say. Went solo. Right, okay, so that's what the say means. You can go solo without breaking up the band you're in, so they're not synonyms per se. But, going solo, that might be a way to break up a band, say. That say means it's sort of an example of the thing. Quackgrass and others. Oh, weeds. Okay, so quackgrass, weed, so marijuana there. And then, elk hound. I have heard of that. Okay. Oops. National dogs of Norway. I didn't know it was the national dog of Norway, but I have heard of that breed. So long ones can be measured in centuries. Bike rides. I knew this was going to be a sports thing, but I was thinking maybe cricket, because I think that's a thing in cricket as well. But obviously different concept than in bike rides. But there we go. Okay. So that's funny. So I ended up knowing the dog breed, but not the flowering plant, seemingly. It's the opposite of what I expected. Families and waves might have crests. So a wave on the ocean could crest, and you could have an official family crest as well. Let's see. Clematis? Oh, an oast, as in an oast house. Right, an outbuilding that's sometimes converted into a dwelling. Okay, right. That's sort of somewhat obscure vocabulary, I would say. There's a great, if you're a fan of Alan Partridge, the decades-long running radio broadcaster character from the UK, played by Steve Coogan. There's a very good podcast of his called From the Oast House. Anyway, flowering plants such as old man's beard, clematis, I suppose, or clematis. Right. I mean, I've probably seen that before, but it's certainly not in my active vocabulary. I don't really recognize it. Okay, what else have we not seen? One-time Swedish exports. Oh, Saabs. Did Saab go out of business? One of those brands went out of business. Audi is still around. That's Swedish, right? But does that help driver's license designation? Sorry, I'm sure this is incredibly straightforward. It's driving me absolutely nuts, no pun intended. Modern meeting aid for many. Modern meeting aid for many. Some kind of online video thing, maybe? And word with dim. Dim sum. There we go. The food, the meal. Extra crispy, to put it nicely. To put it nicely. Midweek milestone. Oh, hump day for Wednesday. We're over the sort of hump of the week, over the peak. Oh, organ donor is a designation that can be on one's driver's license. I see. So if you get into a fatal accident, I suppose, they know. All right. Does that help with this? Extra crispy, to put it nicely. I'm not sure what that to put it nicely is about. I'm not sure what I should be looking for there. Part of an urban fleet. A cab or a taxi or something like that. A bus. Urban fleet of buses. Burnt? Is that because the T rather than an ED has a kind of quaint, nice quality to it? Burnt? Not exactly sure if that's what that's getting at, but I think it must be the answer. Modern meeting aid for many. An earpiece, right? Okay, you could have a sort of Bluetooth earpiece or something like that. Give an edge to. Oh, maybe it's earphone. Because you could hone a blade, give it an edge, hone it. And then poet who wrote, I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly because you tread on my dreams. Must be Yates. There's a pub near me called the William Butler Yates. Blank Gandhi, longest serving president of the Indian National Congress. Why don't I recognize? Why don't I get that? It's so frustrating. I cannot bring this to mind. Kind of office tray. And heading in a contract. Terms? Kind of office tray. And pose. You act a certain way? Pose that way? This doesn't look right at all. Pose. Oh, I'm going to have to just come back to this and hope that my kind of memory improves. Crush cans, maybe. To crush cans, maybe. Is it a verb or a noun? Oh, grape sodas? Crush is a sort of fruit soda. So grape soda, right, must be a flavor that it's offered in. Grape soda. Yeah, I guess that's a thing. Oops. Some hiccups. Oh, GMCs maybe. I think they make trucks only. And name written with an accent in Irish English. Is it Sean? I think it does have an accent in Irish English over the, I want to say E, but it could be the A. I could be misremembering. Nurses. Okay, so sips on. It was going to be sips at or sips on. And perseverance, e.g. Oh, Mars rover, right. Yeah, Mars rover. That's it. That's a good clue. Like a buffalo nickel. It must be a rare coin. I've heard of those. I wouldn't have known which ones are rare, but it must be right. In science fiction, suspended animation of a body at very low temperature. Cryogenic freezing, cryosleep. Maisie Williams' role on Game of Thrones. There we go. Well, I've also not seen Game of Thrones, but it turns out I didn't need to because it was filled entirely with crosses. So Arya. And cryosleep, right? And then edges of a diamond, the letter D, so D's plural. Literally the ends of the word diamond. So a bit of a punny thing there, hence the question mark. Estimating words or so, you could say 5 or so. I estimate 5 or so. And Sophia's husband in the color purple. Oh, that's so funny. Another color purple thing. It's so funny. I was reading about this the other day because I was reading about Steven Spielberg having seen The Fabelmans, and that led me to a sort of Wikipedia dive. Anyway, I've never actually seen it. I know it's a book as well, which I've also not read. Blank Gandhi, longest-serving president of the Indian National Congress. Sonia Gandhi? Is that right? It's a whole family. You know, there's Indira Gandhi and everyone else. Let's see if that works. Oh, unobtainium? That's a hilariously absurd name. Unobtainium. You can't obtain it, I guess. And kind of office tray. Oh, in-out. An in-out tray of, documents coming in and going out. Right, okay. And then to pose is to sit for a photograph or painting or something. Why on earth did I not immediately get that? That is so frustrating. Okay, so that was it. That was a tricky puzzle. I don't know if that was just me or what. I feel as though there were a number of things I should have gotten much more quickly, and I just really had a mental block for some reason. Kind of office tray, in-out office tray, and heading in a contract. No, that one was fine. Unobtainium, I mean, that's fair enough. I just hadn't seen the film. This one, driver's license designation, I guess it's not the most obvious thing in the world, but I'm aware of this, certainly, and and just, should have gotten it. What else eluded me for quite some time? I mean, I think a number of things did. Oh, this clematis or clematis. This I just didn't have this information. Elk hounds. I guess I wish I would have thought of that more quickly, but I'm not shocked that I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a generally tricky puzzle for me, I think. It's hard to narrow it down to, 4 specific answers or something like that. But this middle area, was it this middle area? Well, now I can't even remember where the tough parts were. This part was difficult over here. Yeah. I don't know. It was just a tough puzzle. I can't remember exactly why. But I think a fair one. I don't think there's anything about it that was brutally unfair. I mean, there was some obscure language like Ost, and I don't know, to me this was not obvious, but I don't necessarily assume that this was obscure language. It was just not necessarily obvious to me. Yeah. Anyway, there we have it. That was the Friday crossword by Barbara Lynn. It was a good, tricky solve. I enjoy having to do that now and then, especially on the themeless days. So let me know how you fared with this one. If you found this tricky as well, or if I was just a bit slow today. But there we have it. That was the Friday puzzle. I'll be back tomorrow for the Saturday crossword, which could well be more difficult than this one. So hopefully not too much so, but we'll just have to come back and find out. Join me then, but until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.